it different in today's game when you have, some teams using 23, 24, older guys, where
25,
25,
26,
yeah,
27.
yeah. Is it different relying on
Beards,
freshmen?
kids in the stands, on their second wife. Yeah, this is a little bit different. It's our fault that we have nothing that prohibits age. Make it 25. Kids transfer 5 times. Why? It's the same reason. Can I get more money somewhere?
With college basketball turning into minor league basketball, with some of these players literally being grown men, you would think they would be able to handle criticism. They would be open to coaching. More importantly, you would think that the mainstream sports media would treat them like the grown men that they are, instead of treating them like fragile prepubescent boys. But the media is too worried about their feelings. Oh, it was so traumatic watching Tom Izzo yelling at his players. Basketball is supposed to be a safe space. Masculine yelling is not allowed. This is not a safe space. Coaches aren't responsible for catering to your doofus feelings. At the collegiate level, coaches are responsible for winning games, and they're responsible for taking teenage boys and turning them into young men. They are responsible for preparing their players for the real world, because contrary to the belief of the media, the real world doesn't give a damn about your feelings. It is becoming increasingly difficult for coaches to do their jobs, mainly because women and feminine men in the media who aspire to be women, they criticize coaches every time they're aggressively coaching. They refer to it as temper tantrums or verbally violent outburst, instead of calling it what it actually is, coaching. Accountability is becoming rare. Players have been empowered. 18, 19, 20-year-old kids who haven't accomplished a damn thing, and they don't know a damn thing. They have been given the power to control their own destiny. On the surface, it sounds great. Everyone should have the power to control their own destiny. Yeah, sure. But what's being lost along with that power is that it comes with great responsibility. Before NIL, if Tom Izzo recruited an 18-year-old kid, he was pretty much guaranteed to have him for 3 or 4 years. Unless the kid was an NBA prospect, Tom Izzo would have him for the length of his collegiate career. Today, if Tom Izzo doesn't think the kid is ready to play, or he doesn't think he's mature enough, he's not going to class, showing up late to practice, instead of the kid being punished, instead of the kid being held accountable, he goes crying to mama and transfers to a coach that would rather be his friend. We have went from coaches being viewed as father figures, coaches being viewed as mentors, to coaches who would rather be friends with their players. My former boss at my old job told me many years ago, that dog won't hunt. When I was promoted to management at my old job, I was the youngest manager in the company at 27, 28 years old. I had been with the company for about a year, and in that time, I became good friends with some of the dudes in the office that I was working with. My boss knew that, and he told me, you can't be friends and be their boss. There has to be a boundary. There has to be an understanding. Otherwise, they're not going to respect you. It's the same thing with coaching. We hear a lot nowadays about a player's coach. I don't know about you guys, but I would rather have a winning coach, which is exactly what Tom Izzo is. It is exactly what Dan Hurley is. Yesterday, they were both asked the same question. Why does the media have a problem with coaches coaching players hard? These legendary coaches, they damn near had the same response. America has gotten soft. Make sure to like and subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter at KC_BTL84. So going into the sponsor for today's video, my good friends at Fluffernoggin. I am not a big snacker. I don't eat a lot of junk food, but there are times during the week when I'm too busy to stop and grab lunch, and I just need something quick and easy, but also filling enough to get me to dinner. One thing I found that fills me up, beef jerky. Problem is, a lot of beef jerky tastes like you're biting into a flat tire. Good news is, I no longer had that problem because I started buying gourmet beef jerky from Fluffernoggin. Now you're probably wondering, what the hell is a Fluffernoggin? Fluffernoggin is gourmet beef jerky that is 100% made in America. You don't have to worry about consuming foreign cows because all these cows are homegrown. Each recipe from Fluffernoggin is handcrafted with the perfect amount of seasoning. First beef jerky that I've ever tasted that literally melts in your mouth. Fluffernoggin comes in a variety of flavors ranging from mango habanero, Korean barbecue. They even have a flavoring of craft beer. Or if you're like me, you'll just stick with the original style flavoring. So click the link in the description or the pinned comment below. Use my promo code BTL30, BTL30. Receive 30% off your first purchase with Fluffernoggin. Last weekend, Charles Barkley came to the defense of Tom Izzo. The jock sniffers in the media, they were criticizing him for coaching his players too hard. Tom Izzo's a meanie! Ironically enough, when Brenda Freese, the head coach of the women's basketball team at Maryland, earlier this week when she was seen coaching her star player hard, she was praised by the media for being a great coach. But when Tom Izzo does it, he's an asshole. Yesterday, both Tom Izzo and Dan Hurley were asked about Charles Barkley's comments. They were asked why people in the media, most of which have never played sports, most in the media, they couldn't ball up a napkin and ring the trash can from 3 feet away. They were asked why the media has a problem with their tough, aggressive style of coaching. Listen to their response. Watch it for yourself.
And now we're supposed to just hug and kiss everybody. You know what? Do your job right. Go to class and you won't hear about not going to class. Cut out, you won't hear about not cutting out. And if you're that dumb, bad word, but the truth, that you think any coach in America would be yelling at a guy because he did it wrong once or twice or 5 times or 10 times, you have no idea what coaching's all about. The difference is, I think these kids have so many distractions now that they don't stay focused in on the task at hand.
Society, we've gotten soft in a lot of ways. I think with, with trying to develop young people, I think young people, the teachers and coaches that impact their lives the most are not the teachers and coaches that gave them a grade they didn't deserve. I coach 18, 19, 20-year-old men. There's a lot that I got to instill in them. There's a lot of discipline. There's a lot of accountability. There's a lot of commitment that I've got to instill in them to prepare them for the real world. The real world is tough. It's cruel. And a lot of our relationship that the media doesn't see or times that we spend, together laughing, joking, making fun of each other. You don't see that part of me. You unfortunately just sometimes see the monster.
Me personally, I think one of the main reasons the media is terrified of aggressive masculine coaching, it stimulates their allergen to toxic masculinity. As you guys know, most in the media, they are allergic to masculinity. They want to teach young men that girls like sensitive men, women like men who are in touch with their feelings. This is exactly what Dan Hurley is talking about when he says society has gotten soft. On paper, Darren Peterson, he is the #1 pick in the NBA draft, but the chances of him being drafted #1 overall, slim. Why? In 1 year at Kansas, he developed a reputation of being soft. He is missing games for minor injuries, missing games due to mild discomfort, got bounced in the second round of the tournament, and completely disappeared in the second half of both of those games. When his team needed him the most, Darren Peterson disappeared. And this dude, He was being coached by one of the best coaches in college basketball. Sports are not supposed to be friendly. It's supposed to be competitive. It's supposed to be aggressive. It's supposed to be emotional. It can get ugly at times. You know who wants everyone to be friends? You know who wants friendly competition? Women. I remember a couple of years ago, me and my wife, we're watching Pelicans play the Heat. Najee Marshall and Jimmy Butler, they get into a fight. Both teams get involved. I am impressed with Najee Marshall because he was fighting Jimmy Butler to come to the defense of one of his teammates. Meanwhile, my wife, she hates all of it. Why are they fighting? I don't like this. They're supposed to be playing basketball. I don't want to see friendly competition. I want to see rivals. I want to see two teams, star players, that don't like each other. It's kind of hard to develop that hatred when everyone is supposed to be friends. Unfortunately, coaches like Tom Izzo, Dan Hurley, Rick Pitino, John Calipari, these dudes are the last of a dying breed. We should be listening to them instead of criticizing them. They are telling us that the system is broken in college basketball. Tom Izzo is telling us that it's getting harder and harder to hold players accountable. But instead of listening, the media wants to hold Tom Izzo accountable for doing his job. And look, this abundance of softness, it hasn't just infected sports. It's affecting every aspect of society. It is damn near impossible for companies to hold people accountable, their employees accountable. It's becoming more and more difficult to fire people. Last weekend, me and my friends were playing golf. One of them is a manager at his company, and he was telling us about this dude that he was trying to fire. He no-call, no-shows. If he actually does show up to work, he's constantly late. To make matters worse, his job performance is the drizzling shits. Now, 15, 20 years ago, this dude would have been fired, no questions asked. But today, they have to be very careful because he belongs to multiple marginalized groups. They have to consider potential lawsuits. They have to think about being accused of fake racism or violating the LGBT alphabet. People hide behind anything they can to escape being held accountable, and the media encourages it. What is college basketball going to look like when these legendary coaches who aren't afraid to hold their players accountable? What is college basketball going to look like when all of these dudes are gone? Sound off in the comments below. I'll see you guys later.